achieved up until now. I would say we set the benchmark in Barber a couple of weeks ago where we were pretty much consistently sixth throughout the whole week, to now start off with a pole.
And also, what is it about this course that fits your driving style so well? Because this is where you had your debut, and when the world discovered who Christian Lundgaard was that day with your qualifying effort.
I wish I could tell you, man. I want to know myself. This place just is amazing. Whatever way you drive around, if it's one or the other, it's amazing. And I think the atmosphere around this place just brings us drivers alive. And I mean, I don't think it's a secret that this track fits the European drivers. I'm sitting next to a Swede. So, I mean, we're up here. Jack's in here, Pato's in here, Palo's in here. So, I mean, it is a very sort of a European-style track. So I just think that fits us pretty well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Obviously also joined, hang tight, Wolfgang. Obviously also joined by the driver, the number 6, Aaron McLaren Chevrolet, and Felix Rosenqvist, making it an all-Scandinavian front row. And we talked about this being the 4th tightest Firestone Fast 6 in the history of IndyCar racing, but 1-2, the difference is 27 ten-thousandths of a second. That is the closest 1-2 in Firestone Fast 6 history, in IndyCar Series history. So since we've been doing this, so it's pretty darn tight. Pretty darn tight. But congratulations. Tell us about that last lap and the last couple corners before you hit the start-finish line.
Yeah, I thought I had a mega lap going, and I don't know, I kind of messed it up a bit in turn 9. I was just going for, make or break, and it didn't make. So 3,000s, that's always tough, but honestly, I'm super happy to be in P2. This is a track where, as Christian said, I think a lot of European drivers have excelled, and I've had 2 poles here previously and almost 3 now, so maybe try starting on P2 instead and see how that goes.
Second front row start for Felix Rosenqvist here in 2023. Wolfgang, go ahead.
Yeah, first, 2 questions for Christian. First of all, congratulations. Just a technical question and then a media question. And the first one, obviously, as a non-technician, I would say you change the setup for tomorrow for race and you will not drive for qualifying. Is this correct?
First of all, thank you. To a certain degree, yes. I mean, there's definitely things that will be changed just to optimize the endurance of the race. I'll kind of say this is what I like about IndyCar in general. You have practice 1, practice 2 before qualifying. You're just working on the qualifying car, and then you have warm-up to focus on the race. So there's definitely going to be things for tomorrow that will be different on the car. I think it'll be like that across the whole grid.
Okay, and the second question, media question, coming from a small country like Denmark, which to my knowledge only has 1 racetrack, Jyllandsringen, and
we have a few more, but
few more, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and then also to my knowledge, the last very successful Danish driver was way back, John Nielsen in Super V and Formula 3 and Formula 3000. How is the media interest now representing your country in America so successfully in IndyCar?
I don't know if I'm going to piss some people off in Denmark saying this, but I think it could be better. Being over here, trying to represent the country, I'm proud. The first Dane to ever compete in the Indy 500 last year. And it was actually something I realized myself and called one of the journalists from back in Denmark and told him. And he was like, okay, are you sure? And he did some research on it, and it was actually true. So I think after that, they stepped it up a bit, and I hope today helps as well. That will kickstart it. But, I mean, it's great to be a Dane and represent it out here in America. We got a few Swedes here as well. So, we all do what we can. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
This one is for Christian. You've been around here for a couple of years now. Obviously, you made the transition from one car number race team with different crew to the other. How has this day cultivated to prepare you for all the challenges? How have you been able to adapt from it?
Luckily, my crew is the same. But honestly, I mean, the only thing that really changed was the livery and the number of the car, and the title sponsor. That was pretty much the only thing that changed. So in that regards, I mean, it's the same crew, it's the same. I actually think it's the same car as last year. Anyway, for me, my response to the call of the change was, well, it's a race car. I mean, if it's got one number or another, it doesn't really make a difference to me. I did my debut in the 45 car here, so to be back in it, apparently that's the car I need to drive here.
Go ahead, Eric.
Yeah, Christian, a couple for you. Really only been about a year and a half ago since you made your debut here. Did you think a pole would come this quickly?
Well, I hoped it came sooner, but no, I mean, whenever it comes, I hope it was the right time to do it. The one thing I was annoyed about having my podium here last year was I didn't want to have it here, because I did my debut here and I didn't want people to think that this was just the track that I was fast at. And we showed up in Nashville and was P1 in the first session the weekend after. So this is what I want to do now. Now we're starting the race from pole, but we also need to win the race. So we need to take it step by step and see what we can do tomorrow and back it up for the proper month of May.
And you were second, as you mentioned on the broadcast in both practices. How did you balance making changes but not making too many changes and go backwards? Did you make any changes between second practice and qualifying? And thank you.
Yeah, there was a few changes, but quite honestly, the car is almost the same as we started practice one. It's a car that was fast for me here 2 years ago for the second Indy GP, and it was fast here in the first Indy GP last year and the second one. So we just have a fast car here, which is obviously great because now we translated that into our first NTT P1 award. And we gotta dig deeper for everywhere else. As I mentioned before, I don't just want to be fast here. I want to be fast across all 17 races. So we got to keep working and trying to figure that out. Thank you.
Chris, go ahead, sir.
Felix, with how tight it was to Christian, looking back over that lap, thinking back over it, is there anything you can think of that you might have done differently that might have gotten you pole, or was that just the fastest that car was going to go?
I mean, you can always go better. I think probably Christian could probably go a tenth or two quicker if he...
I think we all come in and we say, oh, I could have at least gone
Yeah.
6 tenths faster on that lap.
That's why I don't bother anymore with saying, you know, I could have, should have. And I mean, you know, we all go all in, all out there, and it's always so tight. I mean, this track, honestly, if you're 1 or 1.5 tenths off, it can normally be the difference of, you know, maybe starting like 16th or P5. Like it's so tight, and you have to really put it together every qualifying segment, and it's hard. Like there's traffic out there, you know, there's different challenges coming towards you, and when it's so tight, you just have to be perfect all the time. And but yeah, I mean, we always look back, and you know that's why we get better every time. And this time it didn't work out, but I'm happy for Christian. That was an awesome run, and he really deserves it.
And Christian, the NBC showed a graphic. I think it was like one single-digit starting position before this race was you at Barber. Was there something that happened in between Barber and here? Was it like a big meeting where everyone came together and said, we got to fix something? Was there anything that y'all did at a test that changed anything? Or what happened between then and now to make it where all three of y'all are now in the top 8?
The only thing that I think was different was that I went on holidays. Quite honestly, I was on a weekend holiday, and my dad asked me before going to Barber if I could take a different approach to a weekend so you don't focus too much on the engineering aspect of things. And I drove down to Barber a few days early, played some golf, didn't think about any racing. And we were competitive that weekend. So, I mean, it worked here as well now. So I actually haven't played any golf lately since Barber, so I might need to go play around tonight before tomorrow.
Thank you. Congrats to you both.
Kevin, go ahead.
I have one for you, Christian. Do you feel like coming over here to America, joining IndyCar now, are you at the point of feeling like that was a good career move for you?
100%. I wouldn't have driven in 2022 if I didn't come here. So I guess you can call it a lifesaver.
This question is for either or both of you. Does this circuit seem more European than the other road circuits on the series? And if so, what makes it that way?
I mean, I guess it was built for F1, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Originally, yeah.
Yeah. So I guess.
I think it's I don't know. It's just more about maximizing what you have rather than being like close to the walls or close to the gravel. Like I think here, if you can make the car work for you, you can make a difference. And maybe it's a bit of a smoother lap. You don't see anyone really fighting the car a lot. I mean, you have a couple of snaps here and there, but it's not like Detroit or Nashville or even Iowa or something like that. It's a fairly smooth lap, smooth surface, high grip. And also the fact that we can do the lap in lap 1 is kind of unique. At least, we can have kind of slow out lap and then just go out and do a lap and then the tires are gone. So I think that, at least for Christian, I think like Formula 2, it's pretty similar to that. So, yeah, but I mean, it's not like we're only good here, I think, but maybe in our favor a bit.
Yeah, I guess you covered it. I don't know what else to add.
Nate Ryan.
One for each. Felix, you've qualified well before this year, but the results haven't quite been there. Any reason, any kind of pre-race meeting you'll have to figure out, like, hey, how can we execute and get the finish that backs up qualifying?
Well, I think our year has basically been, 2 DNFs on the first 2 races, set us back a lot. I mean, we're pretty much last in the standings after those 2 races, and since then we've been in the mix pretty much everywhere. We haven't really had a proper weekend in terms of everything coming together, which is normal. But we've been, top 10 pretty much every session, qualifying race. So I think this weekend things just kind of worked out a bit better so far, at least. And that's just IndyCar. You just need to put yourself in that position as many times as you can in the season, and hopefully you can get on a bit of a roll from here. And I think it will come to us.
And Christian, I know you told us a little bit about the backstory of it's good to be in America or whatever it is. Can you elaborate on that? Like,
it's good to be. No, what a day to be. No, what a great day to be in America. There you go.
So what prompted that, or where did it start and why?
So it's actually funny because it's supposed to be what a great day to be an American, but the fun thing is it's said by a Canadian. So I just changed it to what a great day to be in America.
Okay. What Canadian said this?
It's actually one of our sponsors from Hub International.
Okay. All right. You're talking a lot like a leader today, like, talking about like how we moved in this new shop, we deserve better results. On a day like this when Rahal Letterman-Lanigan has the results, does it feel good for you to sort of be leading the charge and be at the top? Because it seems like even though you're still fairly young in IndyCar, it feels like you've sort of taken the mantle of leading this team.
I mean, I don't think it's so much about being humble either. I think it's also personality. I'm also here to try to help the team as much as I can. We're on a upward slope. We want to improve and we need to improve. And I know how much work goes into every single little aspect of making this car faster. And looking at our results, we haven't really been able to. I think we're all a little disappointed in St. Pete. Definitely disappointed in Long Beach. We expected to be faster, and we weren't. So we are hard on ourselves as well. So once these days come, we expect to be here, but we also got to reward ourselves and understand that all the hard work does pay off eventually. And I think this is just a sight of hard work paying off. But we also need to keep in mind the races tomorrow. We need to win tomorrow's race. And that's the target. At this point, I think we'll be pretty disappointed in second tomorrow, or just the podium. I think we're absolutely going for winning the race, and then I guess we'll see what happens.
Although we might miss the mustache, though.
No.
If it's Rahal Letterman-Lanigan racing.
No, actually, I was on the phone to my brother just before qualifying. And he was supposed to come to Toronto, and then he got cold feet. And then I was on the phone to him, and I said, if I'm on the podium tomorrow, you're definitely coming to Toronto. He said, nah, not really. So I said, okay, if I win tomorrow, you're coming to Toronto. So he's coming to Toronto, but if I'm on the podium, he's coming to visit me later in the year.
All right. The plot thickens.
Yeah.
All right.
So a mustache and my brother will come see me race for once.
It's a big 2023.
Yeah.
If it's Ray Hall, Letterman Landing and Racing, it's Tim May. Tim, go ahead.
Yeah, it used to be my local team, so to speak. But hey, Chris, I just wanted to ask you. You talked to Bobby. I think Bobby's out at Laguna Seca, right? But what did you just sense from him? I mean, that have y'all turned a corner? Does this feel like it will carry through? You know what I mean? This is real.
I mean, I hope so. Looking at leaving Barber, I was very satisfied with our whole weekend. I was quick all weekend, but the most satisfying thing about that race was the momentum carries on, and we saw that last year. We saw we had a big improvement in Toronto, and we kept on building on top of that. And at the end of the season, we were extremely competitive. And we didn't see that coming into the beginning of this season. Yeah. And we had this performance a lot earlier in the season this year. And I remember from last year how much momentum helps and will carry through. So to get it that early in the season is a big benefit for us. But obviously, we shouldn't really just rely on that. But it's a good thing to keep in mind.
Yeah, and what Bob have to say to you?
I haven't spoken to him yet.
Oh, I thought you might have talked to him out there.
No, not after this, but I'm pretty sure if I open my phone, there's a few messages. But I mean, I can pretty much imagine what goes through his mind. I don't really think we expected to be exactly here. We knew that we were going to be able to fight for a Firestone Fast 6, but to be on pole, I don't think we really expected. So it's just more satisfying to finally get it done.
Yeah, and one other quickie for both of you guys. What segment of this track that if you get it right, you know you're on a hot lap? You understand what I'm saying? Is there one portion of this track that's just sort of the telltale for what's coming?
The first corner. I mean, if you have a good first corner, I mean, we have a delta on the dash, so if you're up through the first corner, you'll always push harder for the rest of the lap, and that's also what makes mistakes. That's the reason why you make mistakes later in the lap, but I guess that's our job, to not make mistakes, right? So, yeah, nail it. It's a satisfying feeling, that's for sure.
For sure. I mean, my first attempt on the first set of reds, I blew it in turn one. So it's kind of like you have to go for it, but it's only we're doing our laps in the first lap. So if the tires aren't in, you go for it, like you're not going to make it. So that's kind of what Christian says. Like that, when you pass that corner, you know what grip you have, you know what you need to do, but you never really know until you turn in for turn 12, which is after the timing line.
It's turn one on Friday and Saturdays, usually.
Gotcha. Thanks, guys.
We got time for one more, then we'll take one off Zoom. Go ahead, Chris. Yep. Sorry.
I know you guys are Scandinavian neighbors, but you're not. I mean, Scandinavia's not that small. You're not neighbors. So how often did you guys cross paths racing? And was it just after you got here?
I think Christian was
how much older are you than me?
What?
How much older are you than me?
Like 8 years, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen him grow up.
You could be my grandpa.
Hey there, pal.
Yeah. Is there any sort of a regional camaraderie though? Then, or is it just?
I think it is. Like I feel like we all, like me, Kristen, Marcus, like all the Scandinavians are kind of have some hidden, I don't know, like natural friendship. Maybe it's a language, or we're just different in a way. But I mean, we hung out quite a bit, and I had to buy him dinner when we made a bet in Barber last year. So that's kind of where the friendship started.
And how long did that take for you to do? That wasn't until this year.
Yeah, but I kept to my word.
That's true. No, you actually didn't, because we ended up doing lunch.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll work on it. It's a work in progress.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 lunches equal 1 dinner. That's a rule. So.
Yes.
He owes you another lunch. Mugello 2020 and F2, was that your last poll in anything?
Oh. I've probably done a few polls on my simulator at home, but officially, probably, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
I think so, yeah.
Not sure that counts, but who knows?
Well, it does. It's a virtual race. It's still...
Okay, all right. Agree to disagree. Fine.
Okay.
Jack Binion from the race. Go ahead, Jack.
It was Mugello. You beat Ticton by 0.05 of a second.
Yep.
So it was another close margin of pole. So pretty decent.
Yeah, I remember that day very clearly.
On the TV broadcast, Christian, they said that you've maybe made maybe your setup's gone in a bit of a different direction to your teammates, maybe in a recent period. If that's true, can you kind of explain that a little bit and talk about kind of when that happened and the reasons for it?
Well, I technically developed this setup back in 2021 when I came here, and it's been fast ever since. And obviously, I mean, I don't really exactly know what the differences are, but I think there is a few little things here and there that are different on the three cars. But we've all been competitive, so I think the fundamental of the car is quick here. But again, it's not drastically different to any other road course in general. So it's quick here, but we need to make it quicker everywhere else.
Thanks, Christian.
Thanks, Jack. We'll go ahead and wrap things up. Congratulations, front row, for tomorrow's GMR Grand Prix, a Scandinavian front row, and a little bit of history made as well. Have a great night, and good luck tomorrow, guys.
Thank you.
Did you do lap one? All the session?
Yeah.